Hi, this is Mika with Leap Taken, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things craft related, witchy, law of attraction, esoteric, manifesting, and everything else in between. Today, I'm going to be talking about having a daily magical practice. So, assuming you watch my videos, you walk the walk and live the talk, or you heard me walk the walk, live the talk. You walk your talk of being witchy and wanting to, practice magic and practice witchcraft, right? So it's important that you have a routine. It's important that you have a constant as far as practicing. This isn't something you do as a hobby. This is a belief system for you. It is for me. So why the routine matters. And that's the first thing I want to get into. Your routine matters, just like with anything else. It develops, it normalizes it. Let's just be clear. A lot of us weren't brought up in this type of practice, this type of knowledge, and it could seem foreign and strange and weird, doing some of the things that we do, because it's something we're learning as an adult, and we're just trying to make it all make sense. We're drawn to it, but the daily practice, certain things, maybe you might need to normalize it, especially if you're new, and if you're kind of been at it for a little while, you might need to renormalize some things, because sometimes you can find yourself, if you've been practicing or kind of in and out for a while, you might need to kind of bring yourself more out of the mundane world and back into a magical way of thinking, because you sort of fell off. You kind of relied on, oh, I know all this, I don't need to do all this extra stuff. I just, I can just use my mind and I can think. I don't need to gather supplies and spells and all this sort of stuff. And what I see, in my opinion, is people who don't actually do the work anymore. So routine normalizes things, so that might be good. I know I went through a little time doing that myself. Also, it makes things automatic. So magic becomes automatic. It becomes an automatic thing, something to practice and to wield as needed, for whatever purpose. It also creates a foundation. Routine creates foundation, and that is the one-up that organized religions has over, maybe this spiritual practice. If you haven't created a routine, they normalize. They do normalize, but they create they have a foundation. They've had centuries to practice and to, make a palatable routine, for their followers to follow, reading the Bible, saying certain prayers, things like that. Which goes into my next thing, reading and researching. Now, obviously, there's no one identifying book that we all use, for practicing magic that I'm aware of anyway. If there is one, can somebody tell me what that magical book is? That one magical book that we all should have? But as far as I know, there's no one magical book that we all follow, right? Unless somebody forgot to tell me. But find books, read a lot, watch YouTube videos, It's okay if sometimes people kind of veer off to the left. People sometimes have their heart in the right place, but maybe when they're giving the information, it kind of, their personal stuff comes in. You just have to learn to discern. Don't discount people just because maybe they don't say it the way you want, but they might still be giving you a message, or at least enough to go on to research further. Which goes into back to books. Go to Barnes and Noble, flip through books. You don't have to buy anything. Just look. Go to your local library. Actually, check some books out. Go on Amazon, and if you can, go ahead and purchase a couple different things, different paths, just to educate yourself a little bit more. Especially if you're not sure if you want to follow a certain path, if you want to stay eclectic. But even if you're eclectic, you have to have some knowledge of other paths and how you're going to, take from here, take from there. You got to know what here and there are before, you can kind of make your own practice. So study, learn, research. That should be part of your daily magical practice. It doesn't mean you have to read a whole book in a day, but, read something, look at something witchy related, magical related, witchcraft related, esoteric, alchemy, something. Look into something and just, take notes, put it in your journal. what you will do, what I know this is something I'm actually working on, is once I take notes, the goal is the things that stood out to me were meant for me, right? So I write those in my journal, and the goal is to eventually create devotional a devotional ritual. No, I'm not. It's not like Christian devotionals exactly, but I'm trying to give it a name for it to make sense. But basically, sort of a time to just read over. I'm creating my own spiritual Bible. You know what I mean? Of things that I know, the messages I might need, things like that that I've gotten. Or even instructions or spells or whatever it is, I'm writing down just to go over those sort of things. It might be a tarot reading or that I got, or it might be, a tarot spread for me to do. But I'll just keep a journal of these kind of things that I see here, see there, read here, hear in a video there. I want to just sort of condense it to one place. I'll date it, of course. That way I can also see my growth and see how it makes sense. For me, I'm going to do this in a notebook, but I think it's probably going to be super important that it may be something I can take pages in and out of, because I want to be able to add to it. Like kind of go back in and see how this relates maybe 2 weeks later, 2 months later, a year later. Anyway, but yeah, that's just one of those little things I'm going to be doing. Also, I love stationery, so I don't need a reason to write or pick up a book or notebook or journal or something like that. I love stationery, so I will always be down for writing something down and having a reason to have to buy a new notebook or buy a journal. This is yet another reason for me. But seriously, reading and researching is a big deal. Excuse me. Okay, so daily magical practice. First thing you want to do is, once you pull yourself together, if you want to say, something first thing in the morning, if you're alert enough to do that. I don't have that skill, I'm not going to lie. It takes me a moment to kind of come to. I'm up, but I'm not really up. I'm not up till I get my coffee or my tea. Lately, it's decaf coffee. I'm not drinking caffeine because I've been bouncing off the walls. But yeah, decaf coffee. I like the pumpkin spice, so it's my time of year. I'm one of those people. But yeah, I will drink that, and before I drink it, as I prepare it, with what energy I can summon, because I'm still trying to wake up, I will say just something it's very simple. Something, it might just be simple as I stir, just bless this as I drink this. May abundance come my way today. And abundance is anything, love, abundance in money, abundance in whatever positive, it's always from a positive point of view, friends, whatever, I might say something, if I'm not feeling well, I'll look at that beverage as something that's more of healing. And as I'm stirring my coconut sugar, because I don't use white sugar, coconut sugar, my pumpkin spice coffee creamer, I may say something like, as I drink this, my pain goes away. As I drink this, my pain goes away. As I drink this, my pain goes away. I say something 3 times usually. 3 is a significant number to me. For me, it's always been a magical number. So I typically say things 3 times. So anyway, yeah, that's what I do. Sometimes I say it out loud. Sometimes I just say it in my head. Either way, I'm saying something. I'm blessing, spelling, and chanting my morning beverage almost every day. I want to say every day, yeah. So that's one way to do it, and that's just make that a regular practice. You don't have to rhyme anything, just, you want to just say something, or more intentionally, prepare it and consume it. And the other thing is cleansing breath. So you're done that, before you go into the full hustle of your day, shower, get ready, hair, all that stuff, and, get everybody else ready if you have other people to prepare. Cleansing breaths. This is not meant to be a long process. I'm not asking you to take 20 minutes and meditate. Cleansing breaths could be 3 breaths, 2 if you have to. Just a strong, in, hold a little bit, and then out, and then do it at least one more time. But if you could do at least 3 or more, just ground yourself. As you're doing that, the whole intention is to sort of just wake up, just let go of whatever happened at night, whatever happened while you were sleeping, whatever energy that you were, swimming in dreams and things like that. You kind of just want, hopefully you wrote those things down, but you kind of want to release that and just start anew, start afresh. This is a good time to just, if you have a deity of choice that you work with, this is a good time to sort of invite them in, help, ask them to guide you throughout the day, ancestors for protection. It's just, it's something you can say out loud, but you could just clearly think it. And as you release, you are cleansed, they're cleansing breaths, and you're ready to start. That's another thing I would suggest doing. The other thing is, if it's possible to go outside. That's not always possible. It's been hellishly hot here where I live, so it was already hot when I was up in the morning. So no, I didn't go outside. Now that the weather is breaking a little bit, I'll be more open to having a cup of coffee sitting on my porch once I get my furniture, because if you've watched any of my other videos, I moved across the country without furniture. So I am redecorating. It's not redecorating. But I'm getting all the things I always wanted. So right now, when I do get my furniture outside, it'll be something I really want. So I'm excited about that. But once I have it, right now I can pull up a little portable chair and sit out back at least. I wouldn't dare have that on my front porch, but on out back I would. And, have my cup of coffee. So I'm looking forward to doing that, actually. Like I said, once the weather breaks a little bit more here, I think hopefully by the end of the month, going into next month, I'll have the opportunity to do that. But yeah, connecting with the earth. So maybe those cleansing breaths will be outside, and, put your feet, if it's possible to be barefoot, that's great. I have no grass here. It's just, rock and dirt, because it's just, that's not what's here. So, but I plan on putting my feet on the ground and meditating a little bit out there, as I enjoy my morning drink. So looking forward to doing that. And if you can't go outside, look out the window. I'm just asking you to connect with the earth a little bit, connect with the outside, the elements, if it's raining, awesome, if it's bright and sunny, great. If it's dark, cool, whatever the situation is, find a way to connect with that. Or just listen, let's say you're just facing a brick wall wherever you live. Listen for sounds of nature. If you have cars going by, that's cool, but just in between, there might be a bird or squirrel or something running around. Just kind of tune in if possible, just the wind, rustling through the trees. If that's possible, just listen for sounds if that's all you can do. But connecting with the elements, connecting with earth, the natural world, is also a great way for daily magical practice. Even if it's just a half a second, where you became aware. And just kind of make a point to be aware. What they say, stop and smell the roses, stop occasionally and smell the roses. The other thing is, I'm just going to add this in here, if you haven't already, shower ritual. I talk about this at the end of the evening as well. Shower ritual is just something, you just make it a ritual, where when you're showering, you're doing the mundane act of cleansing yourself. But on top of that, any negativity, any obstacles, anything you don't want, you're washing it away. So that's just a ritual, a cleansing ritual for yourself as well. And you would say some sort of charm or spell word or wording or something that fits whatever you're trying to release from you. And, and with, and as it goes down a drain or something like that. The other way, which I think is kind of cool, is you don't have to do it every day, but on days you want to be a little bit more magical, dress in corresponding colors for that day. So certain days of the week have certain colors. I think I'm recording this video on Monday and I'm going to post it right away. I think today is like white or silver or something like that. I got to double check. I have a list. I can't keep it all together. So maybe wear white or add silver jewelry or something like that. Just to go with what that means for that day, the magical properties that those colors represent. So that's one way to kind of stay in a sense of magical. Jewelry, so wear enchanted jewelry, wear jewelry that you've personally enchanted with whatever. The thing about rings, my wedding ring, for instance, that represents something. It's not just a piece of jewelry to me. It's represents union, a marriage, and things like that. That's magical, so Go deep like that, whether it's, and it could be, you could enchant all your jewelry now, and not just one pair. So everything can have a purpose if you want to break it down like that, or they all can serve a purpose, maybe to be more attractive, to be more successful, for luck, or whatever it is you're going for. But yeah, we're enchanted jewelry. Keep crystals on you, on your person. I know some ladies put them in their bra or put them in their pocket. Keep them in their purse, or just have them near you in the car somewhere. They're great for grounding throughout the day. For so many reasons. For so many things. Grounding, obviously, we know crystals have different healing properties, things like that. So if you're suffering throughout the day from some sort of, pain and things like that, have certain crystals with you. Again, another way, make it part of your day. Crystals, bring them along. And another important thing, be mindful of symbolism throughout your day. So now we're out walking about, we're out in the world, at work, whatever, you're on lunch break, everywhere else. Be mindful of symbolism. Pay attention. There's so many advertisements in the world. This whole platform, YouTube, is built on advertisements, right? But it's more than just advertisements. There are people who get together to think about how the rest of us think, what our wants, needs, desires are. And everything they place in their ad, if they're, good, is to tap into your psyche, to your mental, to get you to want the product, to want the service. We all know that, but they employ a lot of symbolism. And I only bring this up because sometimes the symbolism may be really against what you believe, or what you're willing to accept in your life, or a certain ideology. But they're employing it, and you're thinking, if you're aware, you might not think they realize, they don't even know what they're fooling with. Yeah, they do know everything, down from the diction and the voice to their tone, their pitch, everything, the colors, the hairstyles, eye color, everything, casting. All of it matters in advertising. Nothing is by chance. So if you see something, be aware, because maybe that company has an agenda. Maybe there's an overall agenda, and you need to pay attention, not to sound conspiracy theory and all that stuff, but, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and a lot of us are just, we don't know, don't care, just give me my stuff. We just want to consume. Pay attention. Not only in the world of advertising, but people, people are walking around. A lot of people wear tattoos and things like that. You're meeting people. Trust me, everything they have on them means something. Pay attention now, because sometimes you're talking to people, and listen, I know people have tattoos from a different time when they felt differently about certain things, but I'm just saying, pay attention. Those are just some in your face things to look at. But the more sneaky ways, I think, again, is like the advertising. Companies, corporations, celebrities, just things that you're coming across through the day. For those, if, there are people who are out here who you work with or who you don't realize they're a little bit more adept at manipulation, using symbolism and things like that, which in the next thing I'm going to go into, mental alchemy. There are some people who are class A manipulators, and not to say that they're bad people, but they just know how to manipulate people. And living in a magical lifestyle, having a daily magical practice, makes you more aware of that, because you're more in touch, because you're seeing auras now, hopefully, or learn to do that, you're seeing auras. Even if you don't see auras like maybe how they explain it in books or other people explain it, you pick up on vibes. You're picking up on energy. So true motives and true intents become more apparent to you, because you're more dialed in. You're basically dialed in. All the energy that's floating around you, you balancing your own, and you're aware of everything else around you. So anything that pings is like, oh, that's different. What's up with them? You're more aware. So yeah. Mental alchemy, I just want to get back to that. So as you go throughout your day, there's situations, obviously, that you're going to come across, things that happen on the news, big stories, crazy things that are happening. A coworker, a friend, family, whatever, their situation. It doesn't directly affect you, but this person, you see it's affecting them. So mental alchemy is basically how I use it is, for instance, A great example for me is I did not. There's a couple things. Now I got all these examples. I'm trying to pick one. All right, I'll pick the easiest one, the car accident thing. So last year, earlier last year, my husband had a car accident. It was right after our daughter having an accident in her car. And we were like, oh boy, not another accident. So he gets into an accident and the car is totaled. And we're really upset because he kept good care of his car. He had been wanting a new car. He had been wanting it, but he was willing to just keep driving the car that he had. He wasn't like pressed about it, but he wanted it. And he would make it known that that's something he was going to get a new car. He didn't know when, but he was going to get a new car. In the interim, he was happy with the car he had. Ironically, he bought the same car, it's just a newer model. That's how much he loved the car. But he made it known he wanted a new car, he wanted a new car. I also made it known I wanted my car. Because the car my daughter was driving, we were technically sharing. And that was getting old because I'm home. And even before I was like at home and not working a full-time job, when I was working a full-time job, it really made sense because I was going to be at home. So she just took the car because where was I going to go? So he wanted a car. I wanted a car. We talked about it often. I was manifesting on it. Did ritual work about it. But I didn't. I'll get to the point. The point is, he got into a car accident. So the car was totaled, which set up a series of events, eventually giving him his new car. And a month later, I was able to get my new car. Now, here's the mental alchemy part. Even though I knew I wanted a new car, even though I know he said he wanted a new car, when you are dealing with a car accident and you're dealing with the foolishness that is getting rental cars, deductibles, and waiting, you're not thinking this is a good thing. It does not feel like a good thing that you were in a car accident. And honestly, you're still shooken. I know I was shooken up about the whole thing because I was in a car with him and we were on a highway. It was so scary. We were unharmed, completely unharmed. And I'm so grateful for that. But mental alchemy for me was releasing kind of, I want to say by the time I got home, because this was late at night, we were in a car, and it was someone else caused the accident. And we were on a highway. It was just unavoidable that we hit them. But yeah, so we got home. For me, it took me that long because I was literally shaking. I was so scared. But by the time we got home, I kind of took a shower and did my shower ritual. I could begin to employ mental alchemy where it's like, okay, I could flip the scenario and how it will make sense for us that this happened. Okay, so this happened. So what do we do next? How do we benefit from this experience? What do we do, or what lessons to learn, or how do we move forward, knowing that we had this happen? How do I make this work for me? How do I take this energy and put it into something positive? And the thing was figuring out a way for us both to get new cars, the cars that we really, really wanted. We both got what we really, really wanted. So instead of looking at that as a negative, because if I had stayed in that headspace, I would have influenced my husband, and that wouldn't have happened like that. We would have probably made a different decision, and maybe not such a positive one, because we would have been, moving out of fear and poverty-minded lack. But we went ahead and did what we really wanted, and we're glad we did that. But that would be using mental alchemy. Again, just in situations, sometimes like with other people's situation, you might have to use it because we're affected by other people. I know I am. So when I hear things going on, I have to sometimes, before I kind of get sucked in, I got to employ mental alchemy and take this around and say, okay, what lessons need to be learned from this? How can I divert this energy? How can I shift this energy into what? I think like that. What can I take from this? As opposed to just wallowing in, someone else's sorrow, someone else's pity, someone else's misfortune. And if, they're willing, I'm willing to share that, but, you can't tell everybody everything. You know that. And again, shower ritual at the end of the night. If you take a shower at the end of the night, at the end of the night is a great time to do it because you're washing off the day's events, the day's debris of energy and everything else. You're physically and mentally doing so, and spiritually doing so as well, just releasing that energy. And finally, just create a nighttime magical routine of ritual. Having a certain type of tea that brings about dreams, or just better sleep. Aromatherapy, burn incense. If you don't burn incense, maybe have the what do you call it? The scent thing, the little machine. I have one. I cannot for the life of me think of the name of this thing. I forgot what it's called. You put the essential oils in it and the water, and the steam comes out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That having a dream journal ready, and a pen ready at the end of the night. And then of course, just journaling. I would say scripting. For me, I love scripting at night before I go to sleep. It's great for things I want to dream about. I like thinking about positive things that I want in my life and for my life as I go to sleep. So scripting is a great tool to use also. Again, as part of your magical life, because you're basically creating a magical book and you're writing down your desires, your wishes, and your goals and whatever, how you want your life to be into this book. And they come true because you're going to make them come true because you're a witch. Damn it. So anyway, that's a daily magical practice. Those are just a couple things that you could do throughout the day. And if that sounds like a lot, read more, because that's not a lot. There are people who do even more than that, who are taking stuff to the nth degree. There are people who, they have whole rituals designed just for their deity, and they take time for that, let alone ancestors. So, there's, going to their altars and say a certain mantras 100 times. I mean, it can go way deeper. I didn't even talk about mantras and things like that. Definitely, if you want to employ those in there at the beginning of the day, on your lunch break, or if you're fortunate enough to be home throughout the middle of the day, however you want to go about it, definitely mantras are great as well. As part of a daily magical practice. But yeah, that's kind of what I offer. I like to keep it practical, achievable, something that you can actually possibly see yourself doing. For most of us, if you don't drink coffee or tea in the morning, you might prefer to have a cup of water, or a glass of water, and maybe you put lemon in it, and lemons, that's cleansing. And you cleanse yourself, ready to start the day. That's more spell work in my mind. That's just I just immediately think I think lemon is a cleansing property, has cleansing properties, and you can tie that to the spiritual as well. Water, like I said, is a magical potion. I said that in another video, which basically is the life force essence that keeps us going. So you're drinking that in, spell it accordingly. I'm trying to think of any off things that I missed here, outside of like mantras and things like that, altar worship, or ancestor reverence, that sort of thing, whatever you want to do. If you want to put, fill up water, dump water out for your ancestors in the morning, go outside and do that. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do, depending on what spiritual path you're practicing. But the key is just to do it. Do something and make it your part of your day, and have magical day. Live magically. That's how you do it. It's doing the work. That's why we call it workings. All these things require work. They require study, so you understand what you're doing. Leave fear behind. Leave skepticism behind. Just believe. Why not? What's keeping you from just believing that if you just employ a magical practice, that you won't have a more magical life and things won't go your way more often because you're a witch? Anyway, so that's all I have to say on that subject for now. So hopefully if you enjoyed this video, you'll like it. And if you really enjoy the content, which I hope you do, because I'm really working at trying to create content that is worth listening to, and that I think people would enjoy and can learn something from. And if you feel so, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.